Saw her when I was a child. She hasn't left me since.
This is the story of the weeping woman. The playground at night. I was 10 the first time I saw her, the weeping woman. Back then, our neighborhood had this old playground tucked between 2 rows of cracked apartment blocks. The swings were rusted, the slide wobbled when you climbed it, and the paint had long since peeled away. But it was ours. Every kid within a few blocks played there, even though our parents told us not to after dark. Of course, that made it irresistible. It was late summer, one of those sticky nights where the air itself feels heavy. A bunch of us had been playing tag, trying to squeeze out the last bits of freedom before school started again. At some point, the group thinned. Kids got called home, lights flickered off in the buildings, and one by one, I realized it was just me left. I wasn't scared, not yet. The playground looked different at night, though. The swings moved slightly even when the air was still, creaking with a sound that felt too loud in the quiet. The sandbox, usually filled with toy trucks and soda cans, just looked like a dark, empty pit. That's when I noticed her. At first, I thought it was just another kid, someone's older sister maybe. She was sitting on the swing, facing down, her long black hair hanging forward like a curtain. The chains rattled softly, but her feet didn't touch the ground. She just sat there, shoulders shaking, head bowed, crying. The sound was so faint at first, I almost thought it was the wind. But it wasn't the wind. It was low, wet, and broken. The kind of crying that makes you feel like an intruder just for hearing it. I froze. My instinct was to back away, go home, pretend I never saw her. But some part of me, the part that still believed adults could fix things, made me step closer. "Hey, are you okay?" She didn't answer, didn't even look up. The creak of the swing chains grew louder. And then I realized something that made my stomach twist. The swing wasn't moving, but the chains were. They were pulling tight, like something heavy was hanging there. Like she wasn't sitting at all, but dangling. That's when she finally raised her head. And I swear, her face was blurred, like water running down glass. The air around me felt thick, pressing down like I was standing underwater. Her face stayed wrong, not like a blur in photos, but like something was smearing her features, dragging them downward. The only thing sharp were her eyes. They didn't shine like normal eyes do when they catch light. They just absorbed it, 2 wet pits sinking into a face that shouldn't exist. My throat worked, but the words came out broken. Do you need help?" She tilted her head at me like a dog that doesn't understand a command. The crying stopped, all at once. The silence that followed was worse than the sound. Then the chains groaned, not like metal squeaking, but like something breathing through them. The swing jerked once, and her body lifted an inch off the seat, legs dangling like she had no bones inside them. That was enough for me. I spun and ran across the cracked blacktop, sneakers slapping hard, lungs burning with panic. I didn't look back, not once. But I swear, I didn't have to. Because I could still hear her, not crying, not moving, just whispering, Her voice slid under my skin like ice water, too close to my ear, even though I was already halfway home. "You saw me." I burst through the stairwell of our apartment building, slammed the door, and kept climbing, 2 steps at a time, until I was inside my place, safe. I didn't tell my parents. They'd only say I imagined it, that it was too late to be out, that I scared myself. But I didn't imagine her. I know I didn't, and that wasn't the last time I saw the weeping woman, not even close. Her hunger. I'm in my 30s now, married, kids, a life I never thought I'd hold together after what happened back then. But that night, seeing her on the swing was the beginning, not the end. I didn't know it at the time, but the weeping woman isn't some random ghost kids whisper about on playgrounds. She chooses. She clings to children who see her, children dumb enough or unlucky enough to notice her crying in the dark. Once you hear her, once you look her in the eyes, you're marked. I've had decades to piece it together. I read everything I could find. Local legends, folklore, scraps from old books in the library. And what I learned is this. She was a mother once, a real woman, long before the apartments, before the playground. She lived in a wooden shack on the edge of the river. They say her child drowned while she was sleeping, and when she woke to silence, she filled the night with screams that never ended. She dragged her child's body from the water, held it against her chest, and begged the sky to give it back. But the river kept it, and the river took her too. Her spirit didn't rest. It couldn't. She's still searching, still wailing, still hunting for children who might replace the one she lost. That's why she wanted me. I didn't know it then, standing in my kitchen, gulping water and trying not to throw up. But looking back now, it all makes sense. The moment I spoke to her, the moment I showed her I saw her, I became hers. And she didn't forget me. Nights that wouldn't end. After that night, I tried to convince myself it wasn't real. Just a trick of shadows. Just a lonely kid's imagination running wild. But the truth is, you can't unsee her. Once you notice her, she notices you back. I started hearing her everywhere. At first, it was just small things. I'd be lying in bed, eyes shut, and I'd hear the faint creak of swing chains outside, even though the playground was 3 blocks away. Or I'd be brushing my teeth, and in the mirror, behind my shoulder, I'd swear I saw long wet hair trailing across the tile floor. But the worst was her crying. It started in the walls, low, muffled, like someone sobbing into a pillow. My parents never heard it, but I did. I'd sit up in bed, covers clutched to my chest, and just listen. The sound would move, drifting from the corner of my room to right outside my door. Sometimes it came from under the bed. One night, I woke up and couldn't breathe. My chest felt heavy, pinned, and that's when I realized she was sitting at the edge of my mattress. I couldn't see her, not really, just the shape of a woman, hair falling forward. But I felt the weight, the mattress dipping beneath her, the springs groaning. I don't know how long she stayed there, rocking back and forth. I lay frozen, praying my parents would come in, that something would break the silence. But they never did. And when I finally found the courage to squeeze my eyes shut, just for a second, I felt her lean close. Her voice was wet, broken.
"You will be mine soon."
That was the first time I thought I might not survive childhood. The helpless years. Looking back now, I don't think I ever stood a chance. I was just a kid. What do you do when you're 10 years old and a ghost decides you belong to her. You can't fight it. You can't run. You can't even explain it without everyone laughing. I tried once. I told my mom about the crying in the walls, about how I woke up and someone was sitting on my bed. She smiled the way adults do when they think you've had a nightmare. She tucked me in tighter and said, "It's just your imagination, honey. Nothing can hurt you here." But something was hurting me. The helplessness ate at me more than the fear. Because the fear, at least you can scream, at least you can run. But being helpless, that's worse. That's when you realize no one's coming, no one's listening. I learned to stop telling anyone. I kept it inside, carried it like a stone in my chest. Nights felt endless. Days blurred together. And every time the sun went down, I braced myself for her whispers, her crying, the way she'd drag her fingers along my wall, slow, like she had all the time in the world. As a kid, I thought if I ignored her long enough, she might give up. But she didn't want to be ignored. She wanted me. And deep down, I think she knew I couldn't stop her. The corners of my eyes. It was never loud. That's what made it worse. She didn't come crashing through windows or scream my name in the dark. She slipped in like water through cracks until every corner of my childhood felt infected. I'd be at school, sitting in class, and the sound of chalk squeaking across the blackboard would twist, becoming the faint sob of a woman holding back tears. I glance around, but no one else reacted. The teacher droned on, my classmates scribbled in their notebooks, and I sat there frozen, stomach in knots. At the playground, where kids ran and shouted, sometimes I'd see her, not fully, just the swing moving when no one sat on it, or a figure standing beyond the chain-link fence, hair hiding her face, gone the second I blinked. But the nights were still the worst. Always the nights. I'd wake to the sound of dripping water. Our faucet didn't leak, but I'd hear it anyway. Drip, drip, drip. And when I sat up, I'd see wet footprints leading across my floor, stopping at the foot of my bed. Once, I swear I felt cold fingers slip into my hair. Not yanking, not scratching, just stroking, almost tender, almost motherly. And that scared me most of all, because it wasn't anger in her touch. It wasn't cruelty. It was possession, like I already belonged to her. The River Dream. I still don't know if it was a dream or something worse. Maybe both. I woke one night and my bed was wet. Not damp with sweat. Wet, like someone had dragged me dripping from a bathtub and laid me down without drying me. My pajamas clung cold to my skin. The sheets squelched beneath me. When I sat up, the room wasn't my room anymore. The walls bled away, melting into mist. I was outside, bare feet sinking into mud, air heavy with the stink of algae and rot. And ahead of me, black water stretched out like glass. The river. She was standing in it. The weeping woman. Waist deep, hair spread across the surface like oil. She cradled something in her arms, rocking it gently, whispering words I couldn't hear.
When she turned toward me, I saw her face clear for the first time. It wasn't blurred anymore. It was swollen, bloated like a body that had been underwater too long. Her eyes were pale milk, her lips split and torn. And what she held wasn't a baby. It was a bundle of weeds, knotted together into the shape of one. She stretched her arms toward me, beckoning. "Come here." My feet moved on their own. The mud sucked at my heels. The water lapped higher against my legs. I couldn't stop walking, couldn't breathe. Her smile split wider, too wide, as if her face would tear in half. She whispered again, right into my skull.
"This time, you'll be mine. You'll drown with me."
At the last second, I felt hands yank me back, hard. I fell onto my back, choking, coughing up water though I hadn't swallowed any. My room slammed back into place around me. Dry walls, dry sheets, my nightlight glowing dim in the corner. But when I looked down at my feet, the floor was wet, mud smeared across the carpet. That was the night I knew she could pull me out of this world, that if I let her, she'd drag me somewhere I'd never return from.
The scar that stayed. That night never left me. Not the sound of the river, not the sight of her swollen face, not the way I felt my body betray me, walking toward her like I was nothing but a puppet. I carried it with me, still do. People think trauma fades, that with time, the edges dull, the memories blur, but not this, not her. Even now, decades later, I can close my eyes and smell the mud. I can hear her voice in my skull. It changed me. You don't grow up the same after something like that. I stopped trusting the dark. I stopped trusting water. I couldn't go near rivers or lakes without shaking, without feeling her arms waiting beneath the surface. But more than that, it taught me something no child should ever know, that monsters don't go away when the lights come on. I tried to build a life anyway, got older, moved out, fell in love, pretended to be normal. But there's a crack in me that never healed. My wife calls it paranoia. My kids think it's overprotective, but it's not. It's survival. Because she didn't stop. Not when I turned 13. Not when I turned 18. Not even now. She never stopped. And some nights, when the house is quiet and everyone else is asleep, I still hear the faint creak of swing chains outside my window. She's still waiting for me. She came for my son. I thought maybe she'd forgotten me, or maybe I was just lucky. Years went by, and though I still felt her shadow, she never stepped fully into my life again. I convinced myself it was just me she wanted, that she wouldn't touch anyone else. I was wrong. It happened last winter. My son was 6. We live in a quiet neighborhood now, but there's a playground a few streets down. One night he begged me to let him stay a little longer, even though the sun was already sliding behind the houses. I gave in. He ran to the swings while I scrolled my phone on the bench. Then I heard it. That sound I'll never forget, the slow creak of chains. I looked up, and my blood turned to ice. There she was, sitting on the swing next to him, long black hair, shoulders shaking, crying that wet, broken cry. My boy just stared at her, not moving, not speaking, just staring the way I once did. I shouted his name, but it was like he couldn't hear me. His little hands gripped the chains of his swing, knuckles white. She turned her head toward him, face dripping, lips splitting into that swollen, awful smile. I don't remember running. I just remember the weight in my chest, the taste of bile. I grabbed my son's arm and yanked him off the swing so hard he screamed. She was still looking at him, not me, always him. And then she whispered, in that voice I still hear in my dreams, "You saw me too." I carried him home, clutching him so tight he cried harder, But I didn't stop. I didn't dare stop until every lock in the house was bolted. That night, while he slept, I sat outside his door with a baseball bat in my lap, shaking, not because of what almost happened, because I knew it wasn't over. She doesn't let go, not once she chooses, and now she's chosen him too. The waiting. I used to think I survived her, that I'd grown up, built a life, outrun the shadows of my childhood, but you can't outrun her. Not really. I know that now. Some nights when the house is quiet and I'm the only one awake, I hear her outside, not screaming, not crying, just sitting, waiting, the creak of a swing that hasn't stood in years, drifting through my window. I don't think she wants to hurt me anymore. Not exactly. I think she just wants me to give in, to walk out into the night, sit beside her, and let her place those cold, dripping hands in mine. And maybe one day I will, because the truth is, I'm tired. Tired of carrying this secret. Tired of pretending everything is fine. Tired of looking at my son and knowing she'll never stop watching him either. Maybe that's her curse, not just to weep for what she lost, but to make sure we weep too, to pass the weight of her grief down, one child at a time, one family at a time, until no one remembers where it began. I don't know when she'll come for me again, but when she does, I won't fight her. I'll take her hand, and I'll follow her into the water, because she's been waiting long enough.